Transport moves more than goods and vehicles. It moves people toward opportunity. To schools, to markets, to clinics, to each other. Across Asia and the Pacific, transport systems carry the weight of some of the world's most ambitious development stories and some of its most persistent delivery challenges. Across the region, countries have set their priorities. Transport strategies are in place. Financing is being mobilized. Development partners are engaged and ready. The work that follows, translating those priorities into projects, plans into functioning infrastructure, and financing into results that communities can rely on, is where the real progress is made. That is the work now underway across Asia and the Pacific. In 2026, the world enters the first year of the United Nations Decade of Sustainable Transport. For developing countries across Asia and the Pacific, it is a framework with concrete implications for national strategies, investment programs, and the systems that move people and goods every day. Countries have made commitments. ADB and its partners are financing and supporting implementation at scale. As the decade begins, the question before the transport sector is how to act effectively, at pace, and with results that last. This week, the Asia and the Pacific Transport Forum brings together ministers, senior officials, transport practitioners, and development partners from across the region. It is ADB's flagship platform for exactly this purpose: to connect the people doing the work and to focus that work on delivery. The sessions ahead are about examining tangible actions and what works. What enables projects to move? What financing structures support delivery? What institutional arrangements lead to results? And bringing those lessons to bear on the challenges that participants return home to. The implementation of the Decade of Sustainable Transport has started. The priorities are clear. This week, we build on the momentum, accelerate our efforts, and keep moving priorities to action.
A very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Asia and Pacific Transport Forum 2026. My name is Sharanjit Leyl. It is a true privilege and delight for me to be your host and moderator today. And of course, it is wonderful to be back here at the heart of the headquarters of the Asia Development Bank, right at the center of conversations that are shaping the future of transport in our region and beyond. Now, I hope you all enjoyed the innovation showcase that was taking place at the Innovation Hub this morning, where of course you saw lots of transport solutions in action, actual practical ideas already driving change on the ground. So today's discussions set the tone for the week ahead. Under the theme From Priorities to Actions, we'll explore how transport can power economic integration, climate resilience, sustainability, and social inclusion across Asia and the Pacific, and crucially, how we turn action and ambition into delivery. Well, to open the forum, please welcome onto the stage Hideaki Iwasaki, who will share the ADB's vision for building a more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient transport future. Iwasaki-san, the stage is yours.
Ministers, distinguished delegates, senior officials, practitioners, and partners, good morning, and welcome to the Asia and the Pacific Transport Forum 2026. I'm very happy to welcome you here in person, and thank you in advance for what you bring to this forum. Indeed, I'm very happy to see some familiar faces and also new faces coming in person. We are gathered here at a moment of unusual challenges successive conflicts and economic shocks are leaving significant impacts on our region and creating disruptions to economic activities, trade routes, and supply chains that we in the transport sector have worked very hard to connect over many decades. We also see negative impacts easily propagating through the trade routes and supply chains. These are complex challenges that no single country can handle. This situation, in a way, is also providing an unprecedented opportunity for us to work together. This year, the United Nations Decade of Sustainable Transport begins. This is timely. It is the first global agreement on transport, and one ADB worked alongside the UN agencies and others to shape. The decade will test not whether our region can set ambitions, but whether it can realize them. Across Asia and the Pacific, the work is already underway. Countries are improving new transport corridors, strengthening transport institutions, and sharpening their strategies that will define this decade. Projects are moving from preparation into construction and from construction into operation. Partnerships are deepening across borders, across sectors, and with the private sector. What the decade now demands is delivery at scale. Safer roads, resilient logistics corridors, cleaner urban mobility, and most of all, transport that reaches the people most often left behind. ADB stands together with our developing member countries, private sector clients, and development partners to meet these needs. While ADB's transport sector annual financial commitment has been around $4 to $5 billion in the past decade, our transport investments have shifted decisively. In 2010, roads accounted for over 80% of our transport financial support. By 2024, the share had fallen to 45%, with rail transport at 20%, urban transport at 23%, and the maritime, aviation, and other modes the rest. ADB is no longer the road-predominant bank it once was. We have shifted toward the kind of transport this region now needs. In November 2025, our shareholders amended ADB's charter to expand our lending capacity by 50% to more than $36 billion a year. Transport will be a major part of that growth. However, transport infrastructure gap across Asia and the Pacific is still huge. It is now estimated at $2.6 trillion, more than 2% of regional GDP. Only half of this gap is currently being met, primarily by government financing. No single institution can close that gap. So here in ADB, each dollar we provide needs to be designed to bring in more from governments, from private investors, and from our partners who provide concessional finance. In this region, the opportunity is profound. We are home to 7 of the 10 largest megacities on Earth. Our economies will produce approximately 45% of global export today. That's by 2050, the estimation. And yet, 400 million of our people still lack basic rural transport access. 1.4 billion people lack adequate access to quality urban transport. Some of you may have experienced that this morning coming here. Our region carries roughly 60% of global road crash fatalities, and climate disasters now cost our transport infrastructure approximately $30 billion every year in flooding and some storm surges that destroy what countries have built. In the transport sector, delivery is never abstract. It is a child reaching school on a road that holds through heavy rains. It is a farmer reaching the market before the harvest spoils. It is a commuter whose bus arrives on time. It is a life not lost on an unsafe road. That is why this forum's theme, From Priorities to Actions, matters. Priorities are clear. Ambition is not in short supply. What the decade demands us is different. Not more declarations, but better delivery. Over the next few days, this forum will look closely at what makes that delivery possible. You will hear from ministers, project teams, financiers, and researchers. You will examine what works and what does not across financing, project preparation, road safety, and decarbonization. To ministers and senior officials, you are the ones leading this decade. The forum is designed to serve your agendas, your priorities, and the commitments your governments have set. ADB's role is to support what you deliver. To our development partners, the multilateral, bilateral, and knowledge institutions with us this week, the decade ahead requires a kind of coordination that defines this forum. To the private sector, we want to work with you. If you build long-term infrastructure and you build it well, if you treat sustainability and resilience as a way to compete, not a reason to step back. The pipeline is real. The standards are rising. Our door is open. And to the transport practitioners, the engineers, the planners, and the specialists, your exchanges this week will shape what gets built next. Let's work together. Thank you again for joining this forum. I wish you a productive and purposeful forum. And to those who are visiting Manila from outside, I wish you a pleasant stay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Iwasaki-san, for so eloquently setting the stage for the week ahead. Now, if you haven't already done so, can I urge you all to keep your devices on silent so we can pay attention to the very important, insightful things being said on stage here. Because next up, we've got a keynote lecture brought to you today by Katja Schechner, the Research Associate at MIT's Norman B. Leventhal Center for Advanced Urbanism. Katja is an urban scientist developing technologies and policies to keep cities on the move. And today, she'll explore how data and technology are reshaping urban transport across the region. Katja, the stage is yours. Thank you. A big round of applause, please.
Thank you, and good morning. And thank you so much for having me back in Manila, a city I truly love. First of all, I want to thank President Kando-san for inviting me, and of course, the transport sector and Jamie Leder, with whom I have a really great working relationship over more than 15 years. So, let's dive in. Hopefully we do that. What I want to talk about today is that first we imagine the future and then we make it so. The future that we in this room imagine about transportation, the good, the great, the working future, is what we will develop. And therefore, congratulations to all of you first, because you being here is proof that transportation works. Someone made the decision and implemented the roads that took you here today, the bus networks that took you here, the airports, the flight system, the whole routing system, navigation system, and collection. Everything that got you here today is a testament that we are working in a sector that does great. However, of course, not all is perfect. As you probably know, while you travel from the airport to the bank, no matter how much I love Manila, I do not really like its traffic jams, though my driver is great. So let's dive into it. What's next? Well, first of all, we live in an age of acceleration and concurrence, and that is creating challenges globally. More things faster at the same time, and we need to step up to it in the decade of sustainable transportation. We must find a way forward. Until quite recently, for many of us, mobility looked like this: different silos, the car transport, the air transport, the maritime transport. We could focus on our own little part of the transportation system, trying to make it work. But then at a certain point, that happened, digitalization, and it provided an enormous opportunity for all of us. The layer of data that the cloud that sank on all our different modes actually enabled us to work better together. However, as you all know, this also created enormous challenges. First of all, new modes and services popped up globally. Rideshare, automated delivery, drones, pedicabs suddenly electrified, all these kinds of things that we suddenly needed to actually come together, work together, and make sure it works as a multimodal network, not just our own mode of transportation. And while we are grappling with these new services, what that means, the new modes, also new engines came. What do we do now? Do we build and keep up the infrastructure for gasoline, for diesel? Or do we put in electric charging stations? Should we actually look at hydrogen and fuel cells? At what cost? Where should we put the infrastructure? Is there enough space? Is there enough money? What is the technology to select? And exactly at that point, automation happened. I know, we've been talking about it for ages, and still there is not too many self-driving cars outside California, self-driving robots on the sidewalks outside California, and maybe some very leading test sites here in Asia. However, it has an effect, even if it's not fully automated cars. We have metro lines without drivers. We have rail systems that run by themselves. This is actually happening, not maybe at level 5, but at level 3 and 4, and you see it. Everyone who owns a car also sees it already. And while this is happening, AI happened. I mean, let's be honest, digitalization has been progressing step by step, and I do know that everybody now says AI will completely revolutionize how transport is done. Well, let's look at it a little bit more deeply and challenge if we are not actually the absolutely best prepared and most safest sector to implement new AI technologies, because we are in the business of moving bodies and bits. Nobody else can say that about themselves. So, how to move forward in this complex world? I suggest 4 approaches, 4 ways forward to look into. First, a radically global mindset. You are a testament to this today because you are here to learn from each other, to share knowledge. We need meaningful interdisciplinarity. The transport sector interacts with other sectors, from urban to energy, from business, economics, and workforce sectors. But we need a meaningful interdisciplinarity, and no matter how much we cooperate, transport is our first goal. Demystify digitalization and AI. I mean, I've been working in data and technology, helped here at ADB, built the first instance of the Transport Observatory. I tell you, really, this is already working and there's nothing to be worried about AI. And finally, every innovation counts. We are not only talking tech. If you put in the infrastructure, if you run a bicycle on a road that actually works, this is also an innovation that counts. Here I have 4 quick examples to prove my point. First of all, this morning, you will have heard already about the Delhi Meerut Regional Rapid Transit in India, a new semi-high-speed regional transit project. And as Sakaguchi-san, who I hope is here in the audience and can talk with you more about this, showed that it is a project where international companies, the regional government of Delhi, and different IDBs like the Asian Development Bank, the AIIB, and the New Development Bank came together to build something that has real economic and social impact. Travel times have been greatly reduced, and in its extension, it's prognosticated that travel times will be halved. It increased regional connectivity, and it reduced the country's carbon footprint. The ridership is rising, and that is a success. This is only possible because we have seen and we will have continuous investment and modernization. There is a mobile app has been launched for tickets where you can already 300 meters while you're approaching the station get a QR code and go online. They have multimodal hubs. They will put electric charging stations there. And I've very recently learned that they also put solar panels on most of their stations, especially the central hub, which will create about 70% of the electricity that they will need. And crucially, an integration with the Delhi Metro. And I congratulate you very much to it, because coming from Vienna in Austria, I can tell you we failed at some of this, of regional integration between our metro lines and our airport. So congratulations. The point is, knowledge transfer matters, and you can mix and match. I'm very sure that ADB is open for you for technical assistance and running projects, but it's also good to look somewhere else. Meaningful interdisciplinary. Now, I lived in Paris and worked for the OECD Transport Forum, and at that time, the Paris mayor suggested implementing 30-kilometer-hour zones. Streets that should be reduced speed and integrate with the urban sector with more greening, with the water management sector, because if you have less and slower traffic, you can also do more porous surfaces on the streets. You know, getting it all together and working with local business associations. Have you ever tried to reduce the speed in your cities? They hated it. Nobody wanted to take this. Nobody wanted to begin reducing the speed. So they had something that I think is a fantastic idea. Instead of doing what we transport planners like and do a complete rollout plan, they said, whatever neighborhood wants to go first, whoever wants to implement in their little district a 30-kilometer-per-hour zone, go ahead. We will help you, we will fund you, we will put up the signs, we will give you some money for the greening, do it. And some people were takers. Some neighborhoods started. And you have no clue what happened. Well, you have it because I showed it. It was an incredible success. A friend of mine, Ariana Salazar, who's now a professor at Yale, did a great study. We worked on this. We showed that businesses, that footfall, that everything increased on these streets. They became incredible attractors. And by now, more than half of Paris streets are 30-kilometer zones. They are greener, they have slower traffic, they attract more people, they boost local business and reduce urban heat islands. This is what happened when sectors work together, but they allowed the plans to be rolled out as a mosaic, how it worked. And this is another message. Good enough projects over perfect plans. We are in transport. We all love a perfect plan, a great simulation, telling people exactly how they should go and work and implement those. We are the specialists, and we have to negotiate with politicians. I know there's ministers in here, so please take note. We really know what we're doing. But of course, we understand how hard it is for you to implement it politically. But then again, good enough projects over perfect plans will deliver. Demystify digitalization AI. Transport is an incredible success story when it comes to digitalization to technology integration. What you see here is the traffic control center in Ho Chi Minh City. Vietnam has been a leader in what we called the ITS, the Intelligent Transportation Systems. Now we call it, I don't know, data digitalization AI. We are doing it. We're delivering it on a large scale, on a monitoring scale. But we are not only doing this. The second image is from my home at MIT, a project by Professor Sarah Williams. She looked at all the informal transportation in Nairobi, in Cape Town, wherever, and they mapped it with crowds. They mapped the informal routes nobody knew, where the jeepneys went, where the tuk-tuks went, where the buses went. They mapped it. Now they have an idea where it's running, and she actually managed to get it together with the politicians, with the mayors, and now they offer better routes for the people in the cities, but also for the individual people working in this service, the jeepney, the tuk-tuk drivers. And we now know more about informal transport, and like in Mexico City or here in Asia, we can provide better services. But that's not enough, because nature is important for us too, and nature moves too. What you see at last is the project Whale Safe from California. By combining lots of tech and lots of knowledge and great simulation models on how whales swim, you can avoid the collision between tankers and ships and whales. All but one transport, big shipping company, have signed up to this system, and it's not only good for nature and the whales, it's actually also very good for the shipping companies, because it's not fun getting dented. The huge ships don't, but the smaller transport vessels get by a whale. So we protect, by using technology, nature all around us, and I know there's projects to prevent elephants crossing that in India with railways. It helps all of us. Why I show you this and not some fancy AI model on how to better integrate, how to better simulate, how to better plan, imagine, coordinate transportation, is because it will be there. We will be able to do it because we are ideally prepared to move bodies and bits. Transportation will continue to move ourselves and our goods and logistics. And as humans, we will always need real goods, from food to clothing to everything. We are in a real safe sector. Congratulations. And finally, yes, I'm the person that cities come to when it is about technology, that governments come to when some bigger projects fail because tech companies don't deliver, and I help sort it out. Better in the beginning than too late, but you know. However, no matter how much I believe in digitalization and technology, and I developed a lot of the systems and algorithms that guide us, with my teams. Every innovation counts. We have three-wheeled vehicles all around Asia. And the ADB, years ago, more than a decade ago when I was still here, developed a self-pedaled three-wheeler that was more lightweight, so we could help the poorest drivers make their business. But of course, at some point, they were electrified. If you think back 15 years, no electrification of all the little 2- and 3-wheelers. Now we have it. It's an incredibly fast-growing market. We make it more safe. We have battery swapping technologies. This is working. And again, back home, and I'm very proud about that project because it was conceived in Vienna by people from Taipei, Common Space China, Taiwan, and MIT, with Austrians in the help. And now we have autonomous, self-driving tricycles on the road in Taipei that, if they are not used to get people from A to B quickly, can be used for autonomous delivery and move things around. So from pedicabs to electric tricycles to self-driving vehicles, innovate across the whole technology spectrum, or even the whole spectrum. Our infrastructures, our rural roads matter, and they matter as much as some fancy navigation system. However, technology and digitalization lets us bring it together better plan, better implement, and better operate and maintain. So with this, I really invite you to consider my 4 points, our 4 points, as a way forward. A radically global mindset, knowledge transfer, mix and match, work with the best experts, exchange in the global south, come to experts from ADB, international experts. You will deliver better. Profound interdisciplinarity. Again, good enough projects over perfect plans. Yes, if we want to improve our cities, our urban mobility, all the problems that we have with air quality, we have to work in the transport sector, but we have to work with the urban sector. We have to work with the greening, the nature-based solutions, the better urban planning. Work with them. The energy systems, of course. Demystify digitalization and AI. Tech is important, but the transport sector is ideally prepared to work with digitalization and to reap all the benefits that we can see here. And every innovation counts. Even if you do a small project, even if you connect a small village with just a good road, this is excellent. Of course it's excellent if you can implement high-speed rail, if you halve travel times, if you solve problems like in Delhi, or I know we have a guest from Georgia here. I had the chance to work on the Tbilisi, Duba stations. Improving just a staircase is sometimes enough to make a better pedestrian flow. Every innovation counts. Because, ladies and gentlemen, first we imagine the future, and then we make it so. And it is you who are gonna imagine the transportation future all across Asia, and you are the ones who are gonna make it. So with this, I really invite you, and I thank you again for ADB, to enjoy the knowledge exchange at the Transport Forum. Imagine a great transportation future. And please feel free to reach out with questions to me or the wonderful staff at ADB, who was my home more than 10 years ago. And thank you again for having me back.
Thank you so much, Katja. That was so exciting. I think who doesn't want their own autonomous electric three-wheeler? I want one. Can I have one? It's so exciting to hear those incredible innovations, and we'll get you to talk a little bit more as well because you're joining us on our panel next. because we are going to embark on a panel discussion framing, of course, the Transport Forum's key theme of the week, and that is, of course, priorities to action. So let me invite our panelists onto the stage. Of course, we have Katya joining us, but of course, we also have Hideaki Yamaguchi, the ADB Senior Director for Transport for the ADB. Yamaguchi-san, please come and join us. We have Sovichano Peng, the Secretary of State for the Ministry of Public Works and Transport from Cambodia. Welcome, sir. And interesting, we heard about Georgia earlier, but I'd love to introduce our Deputy Minister from the Ministry of Infrastructure from Georgia, Emzia Giorgiobani. Welcome. And we also have Matthew Wawoni, the Secretary from the Department of Transport from Papua New Guinea. Welcome, all of you. Please have a seat. So exciting. So we're going to talk about how we're going to create action from priorities. So let me start with you first, Yamaguchi-san from the ADB. We've heard all about how the ADB works with countries, with developing member countries to really advance these transport solutions. And of course, this forum is all about moving from priorities to action. So what will it take to really turn transport strategies into projects that deliver real impact on the ground? I mean, we heard from Iwasaki-san earlier that it's going to take 2.6 trillion, I believe he said was the number. You know, where can the ADB make a real difference when it comes to transport?
Okay. Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, actually, it's not that very difficult, but when we have kind of ideas or imagination or those kind of things, the most important to make it happen is actually first we should make it simple and clear. Also relevant to what Katya said, actually we don't need to make a very perfect implementation. Those ideas there, but focus on certain areas really to implement. On that actually really important. And then that one, sometimes certain areas already, some are still the like a study stage, but at a certain areas already ready for implementation. That kind of things, how we do, sometimes the government may require a certain fund to start implementation already certain areas of those. So ADB actually has a facility to help the project readiness higher. So that kind of facility be helpful for the actions to advance certain areas. The another areas I like to point out, also maybe relevant what Katya said, is actually a collaboration. We have a road project, but it's not just a road agency. Just when channel here, we always struggling to implement projects. But what we require is actually collaboration with the multi-agencies, like maybe power sectors for utility shifting, and then also some other railway subsectors to facilitate more over bridge or under bridge type of things. So those are quite required for collaboration. Actually, possibly with the private sector, that may offer certain solutions also in state-of-art ideas of those. So those are two areas I can mention now. Make it simple and clear, and then collaboration. Yeah, ADB also tries to be come in to facilitate those collaboration as well as an honest broker. Yeah. I stop here. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. So collaboration, the real key of what you're saying there. And Katja, now moving on to you, we were so excited to hear you talk about all of that innovation and technology that's truly transforming the transport sector. So which innovations do you believe will have the biggest impacts right here in this region, Asia and the Pacific, over the next decade? And what separates that transformation from simple incremental change? Can you hear Katja? Is that working?
Okay, great, thank you. Well,
We're not hearing you, Katja. I think the mic needs to be turned on. Can we have some help here? Thank you. Oh, that's better? Yes, so just be wary.
Never ask a technology expert to use technology.
Wonderful, yes.
I'm all bits. Thank you for the question. As I said, I do believe that every innovation counts. And I get these questions many times. Katja, tell me the 3 things we need to do to get things right. And I'm like, no. 124 or 266. Transportation is complicated. Life is complex. We need to get many, many, many different things right and different levels. You all know that. If you put in a bus rapid transit system, it matters that the height of the platform is exactly where the bus exit or enters is. This is a little small detail, and we need to get that right and everything else. But I give one answer, because I'm usually pressed. It is the coordination, the opportunity that digitalization gives us to better coordinate between all the different complex goals and questions that we have. Be more efficient, be more cost effective, reduce CO2 emissions, be safer. The new systems have new data, and they will allow us to better simulate, to better weigh, and to probably come up with new ideas how to manage the different goals that we have. So technology for better simulation and better coordination will work, but I still urge you to take into mind that people's natural speed, they need to orient themselves, they need to get somewhere safely. We have bodies, and we are not moving like bits, and this is what we need to teach the computers, and this is something that I'm currently doing.
Thank you, Katja. And again, it was so exciting to hear from your presentation, of course, reiterating some of those themes again. And now moving on to Cambodia, Secretary Peng, we know that Cambodia is truly expanding infrastructure. It's trying to strengthen regional connectivity, climate resilience, and road safety as well, all crucial things. How are you balancing these priorities, and what's driving successful implementation in Cambodia?
Thank you. Cambodia has done well in transport sector for the last 28 years since our civil war ended in 1998. Since then, our transport sector has been guided by, one roadmap after another. But now, the one in effect is the comprehensive intermodal transport and logistic master plan till 2033. And this master plan requires about 36 billion US dollar. In terms of connectivity, for example, by air, Cambodia has just completed, for the last 3 years, 3 major international airports, the type of 4E, 4F by ICAO standard. 3 years ago, we completed in Siem Reap. 2 years ago, we completed in the coastal area of Cambodia, Kakong provinces. This is the second airport supplement to the existing one. And last year, Phnom Penh Decho International Airport. And if in terms of maritime and inland waterway connectivity, among few seaports in Cambodia, we have one deep seaport. And we have a master plan for development of this airport that's split into 3 phases. Phase 1 will be completed this year. Phase 2 will be completed in 2028. And 2030 will be phase 3 completed. Then we will have, our seaport will have a draft of 17-meter depth. This 17-meter depth allows 94% of vessels all over the world reach it. And the capacity of the cargo handling also increased to at least 2 million TEU a year. And in terms of inland waterway, last month we hold the groundbreaking ceremony of the Funon Decho Canal construction, which is scheduled to be completed in 2 years. Upon completion, the canal will allow the transportation of cargo from Phnom Penh and the industrial zone surrounding Phnom Penh to the seaport I mentioned about. And this will replace the navigation along Mekong River that very ineffective, only operation during daytime. And our new canal will be 24/7. In terms of land transport, we focus very much on GMS and ASEAN Economic Corridor development. And also we sub-corridor, we build cross-border facility between Cambodia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. And 3 years ago, we complete our first highway construction from Phnom Penh to the deep sea port I mentioned earlier. And now the second expressway is under construction, scheduled to be completed in 2 years. And our Vietnamese counterpart working from Ho Chi Minh City to us. And our third expressway also under planning and working on planning and financing. You never know, maybe in 6-7 years, we can have breakfast in Ho Chi Minh City and lunch in Siem Reap and dinner in Bangkok.
How exciting. Looking forward to that.
Thank you. In terms of climate resilience, Cambodia is situated along 3 major rivers, Mekong, Basa, and Tonle Sap. So we are very susceptible to river flooding and also flash flood. So climate resilient road construction is the only way that we can sustain our road infrastructure. But you know, road climate resilient construction is about 15 to 20% more expensive than a normal road construction. But we have no choice. Most of the DP road construction now is climate resilient, especially ADB and World Bank. And in terms of road safety, I have to admit that Cambodia has a very high traffic accident rate. In 2024, we lost about 1% of our GDP growth. Last month, under ADBTA, we managed to get IRAP specialists to train 32 of our elite engineers in road safety risk assessment using IRAP star rating methodology. The objective of this is to make sure that our engineer can conduct road safety audit and come up with the technical solution and budget for a long-term program to improve our road to 3 star. When you ask which one is on the top priority, connectivity, climate resilient, or road safety, we have no choice but to do 3 in 1.
Of course, absolutely. And Cambodia sounds so incredibly busy there. You've had quite a lot that you've done, and so extraordinary to hear how you are fulfilling that master plan. That is, of course, again, those 3 top priorities that we talked about. Now let's move on to Georgia now, because it's so interesting. The ADB just recently had its annual meeting in Samarkand, very much part of the Middle Corridor, as is Georgia, which plays a very vital role in regional trade corridors and connectivity. So talk us through, Deputy Minister, how you are modernizing transport systems to boost trade while ensuring sustainability and road safety, of course, remain central as well.
Thank you for this question, and good morning to everyone. I'm really pleased to be here with you and to speak today with distinguished panelists. Yes, Georgia is taking part in this middle corridor very heavily, and we are investing a lot in order to develop it. And in this respect, I definitely want to highlight that as Georgia, through Georgia passes 4 main international corridor, during the last decades, we are investing heavily. We support our development partners, and one of them are Asian Development Partners. And I also have to highlight that in addition of the roads, development of the roads infrastructure, Asian Development Bank also took participation and still are investing a lot in different sectors of the country, and among them are water infrastructure. And also I want to highlight one of these in the project, which is livable cities context, which is really important as we are talking about the development of the roads. The development of the roads brings the development of the regions and the cross of the territories, and in this respect it's really important to develop in parallel the cities across these roads, which really brings the economic development of the country, and not only the country but wider of the region. So as it was mentioned that we are investing a lot and we are developing our middle corridor, which is really key in considering the situation, what is happening in the world, and it brings a lot of opportunity wider of the region and development of this corridor. We are investing a lot. We are developing 460 kilometer roads, and out of this already nearly 74% of these roads are already developed. And in addition of this, we also are developing the south, the west corridor, which also the links and connects our neighbors, Azerbaijani and Armenian countries. And also what should be mentioned that in addition of the developing of the corridor, we are taking a lot of attention to the road safety, which is really important, and at the same time the innovation is really matter, and we are using the new technologies in order to have the innovation, to bring the innovation systems in our core development of our road sectors. And in this respect, we are having some kind of new technologies of the roads assessment, and at the same time, we do want to have the system which will be a line of the countries, and not only in the countries, but also the neighboring countries. This is I will stop here, and of course we'll continue on a later stage. Thank you.
Yes, and again, so extraordinary to hear all of the things that Georgia is undertaking. As you say, the crucial thing is to create livability amongst the cities, but a staggering over 400 kilometers of highway having to be built, and amazing to hear that. We'll hear more. We'll move over to Papua New Guinea now, and Matthew Warney. Obviously, PNG is developing a small island developing state, and it faces lots of unique transport challenges. So tell us a little bit about the strategies that are proving most effective in Papua New Guinea in accelerating development and connectivity.
Thank you, Moderator, and thank you all. The Papua New Guinea story has never changed, actually. A couple of years back, when my former Minister for Transport was here, and he provided a very flamboyant speech regarding the seamless delivery of transport system in Papua New Guinea, it's actually the same story. Papua New Guinea presents a very unique challenge because of the fact that it is not only a small island development state, but it is also the biggest in landmass outside of Australia. Our situation, unlike our other small Pacific Island development states, where maritime and aviation seem to be predominantly most important for their connectivity and sea transport for their survival, we also rely heavily on road transport. So road, aviation, and maritime for Papua New Guinea are all significantly important. Last week, the PNG hosted regional transport and energy ministers meeting in Papua New Guinea for all Pacific Island countries, and 16 of the senior ministers were present. The message across is exactly the same, which Papua New Guinea is also aware of. Whilst we concentrate on building new roads for our connectivity, we also maintain roads due to our high rainfall and weather conditions. We present one of the greatest challenges in terms of weather conditions and rainfall. All the way to 300-400 miles or so, we have 600 inhabited islands, which we also are required by government to provide the services to reach the marginalized population. So whilst we have investments which are geared towards stimulating economic growth based on land transport and investment in our major ports, we are also, the government of Papua New Guinea is also obligated to provide service obligations to meet the challenges of reaching the marginalized population in the furthest islands, as well as rural aviation connectivity to try to reach those people living in the most isolated areas of Papua New Guinea. So that is our Papua New Guinea story in terms of transport. We built and deliver our medium-term transport plan to align the delivery of projects under the medium transport plan, which is a 5-year plan, aligned to the medium-term development plan, which captures all other sectors, and we aligned that to our development plan, guided by the National Transport Strategy of 2014 to 2030, which is still valid. That gives us the institutional alignment. So one of the means for us to deliver effective transport projects in the country is to align institutional alignment, strengthen legislation to empower Department of Works and Highways, particularly, who is heading our Connect PNG catchphrase. And I'm glad that my colleague, Secretary for the Department of Works and Highways, will do a comprehensive presentation tomorrow. So he will touch on a lot of figures that some of you should be able to see. So the Papua New Guinea situation is such that we expect delivery of the projects to be quicker, faster, and work together with ADB to improve that process so that the projects are delivered in a timely manner. Having said that, we are a low to medium income country. From my understanding is that we're currently repaying loan at about 4.1% currently, given the overnight exchange rate which we pay through the project financing. We ask that we are disadvantaged on that we are also providing service obligation to deliver remote transport services to our people, and ask that if some compassion be given for us to reduce the rate to 1% like any other countries in the Asia region which are already benefiting from such. Thank you.
Thank you. No, absolutely. As you say, a lot of challenges there trying to make accessible some of these very remote communities within Papua New Guinea. And as you say, the focus is on not just aviation and maritime, but also road transport, which is crucial. So Katja, moving back to you now, because we know transport, and as we've heard from many of the others, transport sits at that very crucial crossroads between growth, climate action, inclusion as well. So how can governments, well, obviously the governments here on the panel and many of those sitting in the audience here, how can governments ensure transport investments deliver on all of these multiple benefits at once? You know, cleaner mobility, lower emissions, and more livable cities.
Thank you. Got the microphone working. 2 words, 3. Capacity building and working. Capacity building, I mean earnestly. We all learned, we all studied. When we come here, we are specialists in our own knowledge. Group, whether it's railway, whether it's engineering, but we need to continue to build capacity and to learn from each other. Like really learn, really understand the language that some other engineer or some other economist is talking about. And this is very important. And also implement and learn digitalization. I used to say it's as important to speak code as it is to speak a second language. However, now with vibe coding, basically telling your computer what you want to get out, it has become a lot easier. Capacity building and knowledge exchange is key. My government, just 4 years ago, asked me to found a completely new university that just had one goal: take all the different sectors and combine them with digitalization and each other. So we set up a completely new work program, study program to do this we give the students more time, we fund them, we hire excellent and very quickly professors. And this is it, capacity building from the beginning and in the knowledge exchange here. And the second thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we need to work. I know that many of you are working hard and long hours, but I also know, having been in the transport sector long enough, that we all face a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of paper pushes, a lot of people who are coasting along. Make sure you collaborate and work with those that actually do the work, that are excited to do it, that are sometimes exhausted, but they also benefit from it. It will not be solved by someone else in the office 2 corridors down. We need to get down to it. We need to combine the funding, the knowledge, and the actual delivery, and this includes the respect for the work of the people that are digging the streets or that are wiring up the electricity networks, because they have to work way harder than we do. But nevertheless, we need to deliver for them so they can implement livable cities, efficient transportation, and basically also hopefully save the planet in the meantime.
Absolutely, I mean, well said. And I guess my next question is really an extension of that. As you say, Katja, it's about doing the work. It's about the execution, which of course, you know, as we've heard, there are so many transport solutions out there. There's so much vision out there in what needs to get done. But the real barrier appears to be execution. So here's a question for all of you now. So please jump in if you see fit. What, in your experience, is the biggest barrier that's slowing implementation, and what is helping overcome them? Who would like to pick up? Yamaguchi-san.
Yeah, bottleneck of the implementation or execution, everybody here knows all those land acquisition, involuntary resettlement, environmental considerations, and initially also I talked about on this utility shifting, coordination of the underpass and overpass, those lots of challenges there. So first thing, actually, we definitely have to plan in advance and then undertake certain actions to overcome those challenges. But again, the Katja said collaboration. And the collaboration also everywhere required, and everybody understands that what I observed last 10 years, or actually 20 years in ADB, some projects really works, some projects not. My observation, what's the difference, is actually champion. In the government executing agencies, if we have a strong champion there, that all resolve. The commitment to deliver and the plan and the coordination, everything will come. Of course, he or she requires kind of few people to help them do certain paperwork, or dirty work, of course, chasing up papers or those. But the thing is actually really we need a one champion. Yeah, Sovenciano, yeah, those actually we quite a lot talking to other agencies. Sometimes we are crushed, they come back. So those kind of things there. But what really in need for collaboration and the others is really a one champion to execute. That's my observation.
That's a great observation. So a champion within the system, obviously a political champion perhaps, and Sovenciano, you were mentioned there, so perhaps you can talk us a little bit through some of the barriers that you see, but also how you can overcome them by becoming a champion.
Thank you. You know, ADB has all the guidelines required for the project implementation, but I believe flexibility is the key to the success. I can give you an example from my ongoing project now. ADB Environmental Department require us to conduct a biodiversity survey on the 180 meter wide river in order to build 240 meter long bridge. I discussed with project ADB officer, let us do the survey, conduct the survey, at the same time fast track, we carry out the DED. And regardless of, you know, the survey result come out. If it is negative, we will still use the DED to build the bridge by national budget, but mitigation measure will be taken to minimize the impact, because this is the sub-economic corridor and very important trade route between Cambodia and Vietnam. And so the result come up good, you know. So now both survey completed, DED completed, time saving, we lose a bit, but not much. Just imagine if we conduct only the survey for 6 months, timing, you know, 6 months is the bottleneck.
Absolutely, as you say, the political will, but the flexibility crucial. Matthew, you were agreeing very, very vigorously, so tell us why.
I couldn't agree more with Cambodia on this one. I truly support Cambodia. When you have preconditions ahead of project delivery, you tend to delay project for a considerable number of years, or at least period of time. The biodiversity studies, in my view, should be carried out separately and should be carried out ahead, so that it does not affect project proper delivery. That also, in having said that, I strongly believe that the social safeguards conditions, some of the conditions that are put in on social safeguards and environmental safeguards and all those, are quite, in my view, create obstacle for project delivery and meeting the deadlines and the timelines on projects. Some countries operate like us in Papua New Guinea, operate on budgets, annual budgets, and annual work plans. We tend to align that with what the project timeline on ADB is, and by introducing those preconditions that you need to fulfill, delays project considerably. I personally find out that ADB seem to be investing more on preparatory work rather than the actual project delivery. I think that we should seriously consider and strengthen and move forward so that project proper are delivered rather than mostly concentrating on project delivery, which seem to be ongoing in Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We've got about 10 more minutes. Deputy Minister, did you want to contribute Georgia's perspective on some of the big barriers and how you're trying to overcome them?
What we see is that project readiness is really important. So the properly preparatory of the works is really key for the proper implementation of the projects. And at the same time, what we see also that the champion of the implementing agency also is very key, and how strictly you are monitoring of the implementation and supervising the whole process, also very important in order to receive the properly implementing and on time implementing the projects.
Good to hear, wonderful. And I guess while we have the DMC representatives here on stage, obviously the Cambodian perspective, the Georgian perspective, and the Papua New Guinea perspective, how would you all see the ADB's involvement and how it's adding the greatest value today? Is it through its financing, its technical expertise, its convening power? How should these partnerships evolve to support long-term transport transformation? Deputy Minister.
So I want to highlight a couple of issues in this respect. The ADB was one of the key, our development partner who really investing heavily in our road infrastructure, and at the same time, not only the financing is matter. It's also brings the ADB also brings to us the technical assistance and also the knowledge, and knowledge sharing is really matter, and it's really important, especially for during this time for the developing countries, that ADB brings to us the new type of technologies. How can we implement, how can we plan? Not only the planning is matter, but definitely the implementation is much more difficult even for the planning. Another issue was, I also want to highlight that in addition of this technical assistance, also it was like information sharing among our neighbors, because you constructing the something which also should be in line what is our neighbor is doing in order to make the corridor workable. It is really important to have not only the common type of infrastructure, but at the same time the system, how it will be the managed, and the information also should be shared among them. And the third issue I also want to mention is that what is also the key, the knowledge sharing among the implementing agencies. We definitely have the champion of the implementing agencies, but not only the success stories matter, but failure is really important. In order to understand what does not work, of course, not every place is everything works on the same level, but also it should also important to know what does not work in order to have in consideration and to make more attention on this side.
Excellent, absolutely well said. I think it is learning from things that haven't worked so well in order to move forward as well. Now, coming up to the end now, we've got a few more minutes, but I thought just a couple more questions, just in terms of what needs to happen. You know, as we've been talking about, lots of solutions exist, they are out there. But this forum is truly about ideas and collaboration. So what now needs to happen from governments, from the ADB, and from all the partners, some of you here, to ensure that these conversations we're having here on stage, conversations you're having amongst yourself this coming week at this forum, how does it all translate into measurable outcomes, real investment on the ground? Perhaps one of you might want to take it up. Yes, Yamaguchi-san.
I'm not sure I can answer nicely, but yeah, obviously this is a great platform for networking. Definitely government and government, private sector, and also development partners. Yeah, we see our friends from World Bank, AIIB, those are there. So you can definitely talk with them, catch them and talk. And then it's not a one-shot solution. Always having those information exchange and then knowledge sharing or those will be actually accumulate for long. So maybe in touch with those people, especially like government and governments, because they all face a little bit similar challenges, but under the specific context, which is a bit different. So here you can see lots of cases and projects or those, but thinking of your country situation or company situation, how we can work on that better or run. So that one also one thing. And then you can always talk after sessions or those, because session is very limited time.
Yes.
So you grab them and then talk, and then after that continuously exchange those views. So I think those are the kind of advantage having those platforms here as a transport forum.
That's a very good point. Networking, collaboration, talking it through. Many of you, of course, may have similar situations in different countries, as we've heard here on stage. So what are some of the solutions? Would anybody else like to add to that, Secretary Peng?
I think ADB is doing well with this gathering. You know, the country success story should be shared here, whether it is technical or strategical or political. Because, for example, Cambodia, I'm looking for the, you know, biochemical material which is environmental friendly and easy in application, because Cambodia has so many substandard construction material. And, you know, if we can find such material from other country or any participant know about this, can share with us, and we are even ready to buy, you know, the license, because it can save Cambodia up to 300 or $500 million a year. And we are looking for a low cost but high product. So share of experience is very good. Thank you.
Marvelous. Deputy Minister.
Also, This kind of platforms really gives us possibility to share our experience and at the same time to discuss and to provide the information what kind of plans do we have. And it's really important to have the close cooperation among the countries, development institutions, with the representatives of the private sector, because it's when we are talking about the development of any kind of corridors or any kind of infrastructure, definitely close cooperation is needed. And as we are talking about the future plans, for example, Georgia for the next decades is planning to invest in the road infrastructure around 4.5 billion US dollar. And in this respect, it's really important to have the close cooperation with the development partner in order to align the some kind of plans and at the same time align the countries also the type of the infrastructure what the another countries is doing. So in this respect, it's also give us possibility to share, to make the network, and at the same time to communicate with each other about our future plans. Thank you.
Wonderful. Now, we've just got a little bit more time, but I'm going to wrap up by hearing very quickly from each of you, if in 5 years' time we meet again at a forum like this, which I'm sure we will, what would success look like for you, for this region, for Asia and the Pacific? So let's start from the end there with Katja. If you can just give us some very quick 30-second roundup of what success will look like, because we will get there.
Yeah, I would love to come back to Manila with better air quality.
Yeah, good point.
And it's us who deliver this, because we are the ones who will be able to deliver this. So this would be a success story for me, the transition in the amount, in the modes, and in the engines that we use.
Absolutely, well said. Yamaguchi-san.
Maybe a bit more similar, but when we invite again this forum, may enjoy lots of smoother traffic coming to this office, yeah. Even including even just walking should be more comfortable. Again, as Katja said, it doesn't require at all on the very new difficult things, just execution. Just the coordination with the Philippine government in the Metro Manila, having the MMDA, Public Works, maybe Transport Department, DOTR, all those are coordination, those there.
Okay.
So even small things are very challenging. That's why actually it doesn't require a huge investment, doesn't require huge ideas. Just make it nice, small things to implement.
Indeed.
Hopefully, 5 years later, you will see very comfortable pedestrian paths.
Fantastic. That's what we hope for.
Pedestrian bridges.
Livability. Absolutely. Well, let's hear from Cambodia. Thank you, Yamaguchi-san.
I'm very pleased to hear from Iwasaki-san on the ADB coming back to the transport sector. But I also very pleased is if ADB also coming back to help us in facilitation and coordination of the cross-border transport agreement, CBTA, within the GMS region, because we need ADB so much in this help, in this assistance. We benefit so much, the SIG country benefits so much from ADB activeness in this before. Perfect. And we want this coordination and facilitation by ADB coming back to us.
Coordination, facilitation, collaboration, crucial, so important. Let's hear from Georgia.
Definitely, I will come with the more success stories, and the middle corridor will be completed, the construction and rehabilitation in this sector, and of course I also wish to share knowledge with and experiences to our neighboring, not only the neighboring countries, and also to discuss what else should be done in order to make cities more livable, have the more pedestrian areas, and at the same time to speak about the road safety issues.
Road safety and delivering on all of those ambitions. Final word from P&G.
in 5 years' time, I'd like to see more concessional loan at a very low rate is given.
Wouldn't we all love that?
Don't love. I'd like to come here and, again and sit down, and by this time, I'd like to see Papua New Guinea achieve a lot of its greenfield projects, particularly on ports, are given the support, elevate the standard of maritime and aviation projects in the country, elimination of barriers that currently become obstacle in project delivery, and subsequently a couple of major projects around the country are delivered. Thank you.
Thank you. And please, a round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Wow. What a great way to open. We had a whole different variety of views on what it will achieve to really take this ambition and turn it into action. So lots to think about as we go forward over the week, over today, in fact. So once again, thank you all. We're not done yet. I think, are we doing a group photo? We are doing a group photo. Let's do that now. I do have a few things to announce for lunch, so stay put. Thank you. Yes, please, let's come in the front here. Excellent. Big smiles. Thank you. Iwasaki-san, please come and join us. Take the center stage. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you once again. This was a real pleasure. It was wonderful speaking to all of you. Thank you, audience, for being so extraordinarily attentive. And once again, we do have lunch. I have a couple of announcements to make, so if you could stay where you are. Thank you once again. Wonderful. So good to speak to you. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. Wonderful. Please take your seats. And I'm going to announce a wonderful photograph that we can all take together, because we are part of a crucial community here in the Transport Forum. So as you go through those doors to leave for lunch, please just go into the atrium and look up to the photographer who will be on the stairwell to get every one of you in our collective photo to basically show how we are all going to work together this week. So if you could do that, and then of course follow the signs for lunch. There are various signs out there. Just follow them and it will take you to your lunch spot. I will see you back here after lunch. But remember, go out there, give us your best smile, pose for the photo. Thank you all.